I already talked about the rise in Italy's prime minister, but this is also happening is that EU is carrying out even more deportations. Since, according to the figures released by the EU statistics, the deportations of people that are not from the EU are rising, seen as well. And the most amount of deportations is from France, where they had 33,000 people with the largest numbers to be deported orders, with Greece, Germany, and Italy following suit. Of course, this is not including the UK, which is not a part of the EU. It's only part of countries that are part of the European Union. Then Sweden carried the highest number, and Greece returning. But they already put the type of Greece. Yeah, but Greece, at the fact majority, Sweden carried out the most, and Greece as well. And yeah. According to Eurostat, Albania to the waters that was sent back, most likely probably in Greece, from Georgians, Russians, and Turks. Italy saw the number of deportations rise 2,000 in the first quarter over the second quarter, with the area to March, Italy has only issued 260 deportation orders. That's in the third quarter, Italy has issued so many deportation orders that 6,850 non-EU citizens, including Algerians, Moroccans, Albanians, Pakistanis, received the most orders. I don't really say because of COVID, the reason why, but I think the reason why the EU, I think mostly the West is going to see rise and people being deported is that, yeah, people are sick of the old world order, they're sick of the globalist, multicultural world that has basically been enforced on Western civilization. It's only the West that is participating in the globalist world order. Okay, you don't see Japan having to worry about this stuff. You don't see China having to deal with this stuff. You don't see, India. Actually, India does have these types of problems with Bangladesh. If you look at deeper of Bangladeshis in India, and also you have illegal migration in India. You also have South Africa. There's a lot of problems with South Africa, as well, and you're seeing this reversal Great Migration, which is people moving back to the country and people being deported back to the country because multiculturalism has been a failed thing. Okay, multiculturalism has failed. As much as the EU globalists and want to say how great multiculturalism is, for example, well, you have countries like Singapore where you talk about how great multiculturalism is and how great it is, but most of the people who live in Singapore are Chinese and Chinese people. Or, for example, the UAE is a country that's demographically changed so much because of globalization, mostly from the Indian subcontinent as well. It's not just Europe that has seen massive demographic changes. You had the Arabian Peninsula, which and the Middle East have seen massive demographic changes due to unrest in the region. As well, in countries like Turkey, 3-4 million Syrians going into the country, changing this Turkish culture to more like Syria, and people from Turkey are honestly getting sick of it as well. Another example is like the United States of America and other countries as well. You're starting to see a rise in the quote unquote far right. Well, Canada is quote unquote far right because far right is basically anyone who disagrees with the globalist ideals, anyone who disagrees, as you know, with the established order, anyone who wants a change in how the world works. And we're always starting to see a pendulum shift. We've seen it in Europe. We see the post-globalist societies in Russia, India, and China rising. Well, China is putting up a why. It's trying to make a rise in birth rate by banning, abortion, by making a rise in, the traditional values and traditional customs and cultures. You see a rise in the Hindu nationalist India. You see a gradual rise in Russian birth rate and a revival of Orthodox culture in Russia. And you're now starting to see a similar thing start to happen finally in the USA, Canada, a revival of Christian culture, American Christian culture. You're starting to see a rise in Christianity, a new great awakening as you see in Europe as well. Well, and you're starting to see that people say, hey, these people are not like us. These people don't like us. These people are different than us. Okay? These people So be in their own countries, trying to make their countries better. Because a lot of these people who are coming to Western countries, and of course the Arabian Peninsula, could really be making their country better. For example, you know, in the middle, for example, Turkey has like 2 to 3 million Syrians. I wouldn't be surprised if Turkey tries to get rid of all the Syrians, tries to deport all the Syrians as well. Well, and yeah, more deportation orders, are being carried out in Europe, are being carried out in, you know, and America and Canada will likely follow soon. Australia and Oceania. Yeah, everybody forgets that Australia and Oceania and New Zealand exist. I get most people do not talk about Australia. Most people don't talk about New Zealand. But also seeing that in New Zealand as well. We're always seeing these types of stuff already in East Asia as well. Basically, they're trying to make people assimilate immigrants who do, like the two immigrants who do come to East Asia, assimilate into Asian culture as well. And also, we've seen India, they're doing something about the Bangladeshi illegal immigration problem. Because Bangladesh is a very, very overpopulated country. Bangladesh is a very overpopulated country, which is why a lot of Bangladeshis are moving to India because there's too many people in Bangladesh. But as once these countries see a decline and in the population, they're going to be asking for these people back. Okay, then they're going to come back to their own countries because Mexico by 2050, by the time when whites are expected to be a minority in America, the population is expected to start declining by falling birth rates. Most of Latin America by the 2060s will be declining in population. The Middle East Turkey will see a decline in population by 2040 2050. The the only country, most in North Africa by like 2100 will see a decline in population. So yeah, I think these countries are gonna want more of the working age people back in the country because they're seeing a decline in birth rate. They're gonna see a decline. Hey, why are you going over there? Why can't you just stay in our country and increase the quality of life in our country? It's just that simple. You said, for example, world birth rate is not just the Western world, as people will say. It's Japan. Okay, yeah, the fertility rate total births per woman here. Oh, this is for the whole world. But yeah, you see this decline here. Afghanistan to 4.2. It's a top decline in Afghanistan. Algeria's birth rate has gone up. Angola is seen to have stopped decline. Argentina's birth rate is only 2.2, for example. Bull. You see a sharp decline in Bahrain. This is a Middle Eastern country. Bangladesh, a sharp decline. The Bangladeshi birth rate. It's not just the Western world that's now experiencing this fertility and birth rate crisis. So I guess we're going to want to replace the population of Bangladesh now because Bangladesh's birth rate is falling below replacement rate. It's falling below replacement rate from countries of higher birth rates. Is that what the guys are talking about now? Brazil's birth rate is only 1.7. If you look at the birth rates, yeah, Channel Islands have stayed relatively constant. Chile's birth rate is only 1.6. China's birth rate is 1.7. Colombia's 1.8 as well. Costa Rica is 1.7. Cuba's population is already declining. Declining as well. Cuba's population is already declining. We all know that. Ecuador's birth rate has drastically declined. Dominican Republic's birth rate has drastically declined. Egypt has actually gone up, but El Salvador's only 2.0. Okay, yeah. And I'm just laying out the facts here about the birth rates. We're going over every country. Georgia is what a country has seen an increase in birth rate as well because it's our revival in Christian traditions and Christian nationalism in the country. Guatemala has seen a sharp decline in birth rate. Haiti's birth rate is only 2.8. Honduras is only 2.4. India's has fallen to 2.2. Indonesia's has fallen to 2.3. Iran's is only around 2.1, down from 6. And this whole birthday thing is going to be a global problem. Immigration is only a temporary solution. And EU and the rest are finally starting to realize the tomfoolery of immigration. This is a temporary solution to a problem that is global. Kazakhstan has seen a rise in birth rate. Jordan has seen a decline in birth rate. Most countries, as we can notice here, have seen a decline in birth rate. Korea Republic is only 0.8 in 2020. And yeah, where's Mexico? Mexico, other sites now it's at 2.0 now. Mexico's birth rate is, because this is 2020 data, Mexico's birth rate is 2.0 now. Okay, that means it's below replacement. Mexico's birth rate is now below replacement. It is below replacement. Malaysia's is below replacement. Okay. Myanmar is only 2.1. Okay, the only country the only part of the world was the experience a real population boom is Africa. Nicaragua's birth rate has went down to 2.3. Okay, Panama's 2.4 now. Paraguay 2.4. Latin America is about gonna start. Is gonna see the same thing that Europe is gonna see. Okay. Philippines is only at 2.5. Puerto Rico's birth rate is 1.9. 0.9. Okay, Saudi Arabia 2.2. Yeah, Singapore's only 1.1. Okay. Some of these birth rates of these countries are pretty bad. Okay, pretty bad. South Africa's only 2.4. Like, yes, it's still above replacement rate, but it has drastically declined. See, Lanka, 2.2. Okay. And then we have the more updated world population view. Mexico's birth rate is actually still 2.1, but other sites say it's actually much lower than that of 2. Nicaragua's birth rate is 1.7. Brazil's birth rate is 1.7. Colombia's birth rate is 1.8. You see these falling fertility rates around Latin America, which means Latin America is going to see the same problems that Europe is going to be seeing, which makes this whole mass immigration pointless. Okay, Tunisia's birth rate is only 2.2. Okay, the Arab world, with the exception of Iraq and Yemen, the birth rates are all pretty low. Okay, most of the population increase in the Arabian Peninsula is from India, with its birth rate is 2.2. Okay, United Arab Emirates has one of the lowest birth rates in the world. Okay, now it's becoming among some of the lowest birth rates in the world. United Arab Emirates is joining Europe and some of the lowest birth rates in the world. Okay, so joining Europe and one of the lowest birth rates in the world. United Arab Emirates, Mauritius, which is mostly, Indian culturally, tied to India culturally, more tied to Europe culturally, not really tied much to Africa culturally. It's more tied to Europe, Indonesia, India culturally, and Europe culturally than it is to Africa. You have countries like St. Lucia, which is a country in the Caribbean that is mostly African culturally, and its birth rate is only 1.4. So this birth rate crisis is a global problem. And that's what the left does not see. They do not see this as a global problem. El Salvador, once the population crashes in El Salvador, it's going to stop free falling. Mexico, okay, in terms of population projections. Look at population. So this is population projections for all the countries in the world. This is the standard one. China's going to get much lower than that one. USA's population projections were changed. Saying as legal immigration has fallen to its lowest. Not illegal immigration, legal immigration, because people are not really wanting to come here anymore. Mexico's population is expected to fall by 2100. Okay. Philippines' population is expected to fall by 2100. Okay. Bangladesh's population is expected to literally crash and burn at population. Okay. Brazil as well, which Brazil is expected to stop declining by 2050. I guess we need to start replacing these countries' populations because their populations are going to start declining. Okay, their populations are going to start declining. Indonesia's populations going to start declining by 2100. Iran's population is going to start declining. Turkey's population is going to start declining as well. Germany's population is going to continue declining. It's not going to decline by that much. If we increase the birth rate in our countries, we don't have to deal with the demographic crisis, the demographic issues that we're currently facing. Colombia, population is expected to decline. Myanmar's population is expected to decline. Taiwan's population is supposed to start declining faster than countries like France. Okay, okay, yeah, and this is all in the 50. Don't go to the more less populated countries. Uzbekistan's population is about to start declining as well. Saudi Arabia's population is expected to start declining. And they really think that, oh yeah, the rest of the population is going to continue. Meanwhile, the rest of the world is going to start declining in population. Okay. Italy's population is expected to decline in population massively. Argentina's supposed to start declining. Here. Yeah. And we have Latin America. It's supposed to start declining faster than Europe. Okay. It's supposed to start declining faster than Europe in population by 2095 to 2100. Asia as well, 0.4%. Africa's population is only going to be increasing by a small percent. Here. This is population protection. I don't know what this one is, population protection, but yeah, this is a global issue. People don't realize this is a global issue, obviously. Okay. Because they don't put the smaller countries. I don't know why they don't put the smaller countries in population. Because some of these smaller population countries are going to suffer as well. Because they always put, oh yeah, they always talk about the big populations in the world, the bigger populated countries in the world. And actually, U.S.'s population is not expected to increase by that much. Okay. Because they're even now, this is a newer prediction. The prediction that USA is not going to increase that. This is the newer predictions. They're saying that USA is not really going to increase that much in population. Okay. And China's population is going to crash. Okay. Brazil's population is going to crash. It's not going to no longer be there. Bangladesh's population is going to crash. Russia's population is going to go out of the West. Japan's population is going to disappear, basically, as well. Pakistan's population is going to barely grow here. Here. So what is the point of all this immigration? Okay, what is the point? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, a lot of these countries, America's now saying, America's population's growth is stagnating. Okay. And I think it's gonna continue to stagnate. Okay. And probably even decline, which is, something that they don't want it to happen. They don't want the population to decline because but GDP numbers. Oh yeah, here we go. Go. Those are Salvador. Salvador is the one. There was one of the least populated countries, and they put El Salvador was going to be among the least populated countries in the world in 2100. Yeah. Oh, this is current. But yeah, China's population is starting to decline already. Because you look at the countries of Russia, Japan, Germany. USA's population is slowing down. Okay, Ukraine's population, that's because of the Ukraine war. Yeah. Well, a country like Taiwan, its population is going to start declining soon very shortly. Sri Lanka's population is going to start declining very shortly as well. Netherlands, as well. Most of these countries. And immigration is a band-aid for an issue that is global. It's a band-aid that does not work. Multiculturalism does not work. It's a band-aid that does not work. Okay. This is Cuba's population. Cuba's got, and you're gonna see these countries once they realize that they're gonna suffer through the demographic crisis too. They're gonna cause these people who have went away to the country to America, Canada, Europe, Australia, and New Zealand. They're gonna want them to come back because this is now they're starting to enter it. Cuba's gonna enter it. Honduras' population is growing pretty fast, mostly because right now, but it's expected to start declining by 2060 to 2070. The and Paraguay's population is supposed to start declining by 2100. Latin America's population is about to start seeing a crash by 2100, with mostly on par of what's happening in Europe as well. Look at El Salvador's population currently it's only increasing by 0.45%, which is actually on par with America's population growth or Mexico's population growth. Where's Mexico on here? Mexico is around here. Yeah, 0.63%, so it's increasing on par of India and Indonesia, which all three countries' population are expected to start declining by 2050. So, yeah, all three countries are expected to start declining by 2050 in population. So, yeah. So, yeah, that's basically about this video. Goodbye.